Hey everyone, welcome back. Hope everyone is having a great Monday. The markets were actually up today, not Bitcoin or Ethereum, so we'll look at all that, what's going on there. Miners were down, except for four. Four of them were up today. One was up really big. We'll take a look at the story, what's actually having the impact on it. Then we also have Hut 8, zero growth in January. They did improve their BTC production a little bit, but we'll take a look at the numbers there for them. And the one that's actually pumping today was IREN Energy, more growth. They're basically bought more of their Bitcoin miners that they had to buy from Bitmain, but they're selling some of the Axis miners. So it's actually kind of good, but we'll maybe with a little caveat there. We'll take a look at it. Okay. So as always, you guys know the drill here. Not financial advice for entertainment only. Do your own research. And I'm investing in the following coins and companies for full disclosure. Hit the like button, subscribe, helps me out. And let's take a look at the markets here, see what's going on here. So right now, S&P was actually up today 1.15% to 4,137. Dow Jones was up 1.11%. to 34,245. NASDAQ was up 1.6% to 12,502. Bitcoin was actually down today. If we look at it here on the daily chart, we can see here that it had a pretty wild day here today. It did come down to our support line, which was at 21,362 roughly. It came pretty close to that, but nonetheless, it finished on the red. It did bounce off of that, so that might be a little bit of a good sign, but we'll see. It was down, well, showing here that was flat, basically 0% on the day. So it closed at 21,789. We are down on the new day on it. It's down 0.07%, which isn't too bad either. But let's take a look at the 4-hour chart and the 1-hour chart. So you can see here, our blue line is our support here at 21,331. We did come down pretty close to it. How close did we get to it? We went to a low of 21,366, $30 away from that line here. RSI has bounced back up a little bit here. RSI is still not looking great on the 4-hour or the 1-hour chart. Right now we are at 44. Last time we were back here just almost a day ago, almost. Price was higher at that point. If you go one further back, price was higher at that point. And if you go even further back, price was higher. So we have a downtrend still happening here. I think we are going to go down even more on it. If we look at the 1-hour chart, we can see the same thing here. RSI is at 54 right now. Last time we were back here, price was higher at that point. And then if you go far enough back, price was higher at that point as well. So I do believe we will be heading down a little bit more as the RSI has gone up. We have, as you can see here from the bottom of the RSI, we have gone up quite a bit. Price actually went down during this period where RSI was still increasing. But then we finally started to go back up, but we did fall again. Now we're back up again a little bit more. So we are, I believe, going to be falling here. Now, where are we going to fall to? I'm guessing it's going to be somewhere possibly between our gap here that we have on the CME futures. We could fall down to possibly, right around the 20,510, which isn't too far away. It's only $1,300 away, or all the way down and fill that gap to around 19,900 something and change. And if we just look at it to see how much of a fall that would be, it's actually not that big of a fall right now. If we go all the way down here, it's about 8.5% fall. So could that happen? I think there's a chance that it might. Typically, not always. It doesn't have to fill the gap here, but typically it does fill the gaps from the CME futures. So we'll see if this happens this time around. Okay. So that's Bitcoin right now. Ethereum, same kind of deal happening right now. It was down as well today. Zoom in on it, it was down 0.59% on the day. It is down right now 0.09%. It did close today at 1,506. You can see here that the RSI has been coming down on the daily. That's good. So we're having a little bit of a relief in the markets in Bitcoin and Ethereum. But like I said, I think it's going to be coming down a little bit more. Last time we were at the oversold territory was back here. This was at the beginning of November, it looks like. Yeah, Wednesday, November 9th. So it's been quite a while since we've been this low. If we do fall some more, I think we might end up around 13th, maybe 1,400, 1,350, somewhere around that range where we might finally bottom out here and possibly go back up higher. On the 4-hour chart, we can see that the RSI has come back up and we're at 39. Last time we were back here, price was higher on the same thing. So we're seeing the same kind of trend happening in Ethereum. On the 1-hour, you can see 53 is the RSI right now. Last time we were back here, price at that point was higher as well. So we are seeing that downtrend still continuing on here. Okay. So let's take a look at the miners here now. And miners were down for the most part, except for 4 of them. And let's put this on the daily. There we go. Okay. So Annie was down 0.88% to 37 cents. Argo was down 3.68% to $1.83. Bit Digital was actually flat today at $1.18. Bitfarms was down 2.24% to 88 cents. Cypher was down 7.95% to $1.39. Cypher has lost a lot of the gain that it has received in the recent week. So it is down from the high here, about 52% down from its high right now. And it is only now, let's see here, from the bottom where we are now, it is still up 271%, so still not too bad. CleanSpark was down also 0.51% to $2.94. Cores was down just barely 0.04% to 26, almost 27 cents. DigiHost was down 9.33% to $1.36. DMG was up 0.68% to 23 cents. Greenidge was down 9.63% to 58 cents. Hive was up 2.03% to $3.02. Hut 8 was down 3.57% to $1.62. Iris Energy was up today quite nicely, 21.02% to $2.13. This was based on the news that just came out today that they bought more miners. We'll get into the story here in a little bit. We'll discuss it. Marathon was down 1.18% to $5.85. Mawson was down 9.42% to $2.79. Riot was down 0.73% to $5.47. Soluna was down 9.83% to 32 cents. And finally, TeraWolf was up 1.19% on the day to 64 cents. Okay, so let's take a look at the network hash rate. Network hash rate has also been going up here. The 7-day average has gone up to a nice second highest that we've had here at 292 million. Previous high here was 295. So we are getting close to that. Hash rate is being installed. Let's take a look at the 1 day. 1 day, we did go up to 313 million, back down to 303 million. So it is continuing to rise here. We'll see how long this lasts. I'm guessing if Bitcoin goes down below 20,000 for a little bit, we may see a little bit of a drop in hash rate as well, as some of the miners might not be profitable at that point. It all depends on the electrical price, okay? So that's all we have there. Those are the stories or the markets. Let's take a look at our first story here, which is going to be on Iris, I believe. Yep, so Iris Energy increases self-mining capacity from 2 exahash to 5.5 exahash. This is actually really good news. Let's go get into the highlights here. So key highlights. So they use 67 million of remaining Bitmain prepayments utilized to acquire 4.4 exahash of new S19J Pros miners without any additional cash outlay. So that's really, really good there for them. And then the newly acquired miners to be installed in the company's data centers, increasing self-mining operating capacity from 2 exahash to 5.5 exahash over the coming months. So that's going to be a really good growth for them. And considering options for the sale of the surplus miners to reinvest in growth initiatives and or corporate purposes. So they are considering it. It's not a done deal. They do have down below, we'll get into it here, one of their facilities is going to be coming online here shortly. So Iris has successfully utilized the remaining prepayments of $67 million under its 10 exahash contract with Bitmain, including a concurrent sale of 2.3 exahash of the remaining 6.7 exahash contracted miners to a third party. So they have sold, it looks like, to somebody 2.3 exahash. Would be nice. I haven't heard anybody else say that they're buying. So maybe somebody's going to report that coming up here that they bought 2.3 or maybe even more, depending when they finalize this. We'll see if anybody that we know bought these. At least everybody that I cover hasn't reported anything yet. Okay. To acquire the 4.4 exahash of new S19J Pro miners without any additional cash outlay. And this is where they're saying that they're going to sell potentially even more of the 4.4 exahash as they are at 2. That would get them to 6.4. So they're going to be selling approximately 6.4. That would get them down to, what is it, 900 petahash. They might be selling some more of that to get to the 5.5 that they want to get to. And then following the transaction, the group's obligations under its existing 10 exahash contract with Bitmain have been fully resolved with no remaining commitments. The group remains debt-free. That's fantastic there. And then this is the kind of question that I have here a little bit here on this one. The company also expects energization of its 600 megawatt site at Childress in the coming months, including completion of the first 20 megawatt of data center capacity. Approximately 18 million in previous deposits with AEP taxes are expected to be refunded following the energization of Childress. So my question on that one is, if they have that site almost up and running, or at least within a couple months for 20 megawatts, why don't they just hold on to the 900 petahash that they do have that they're thinking about potentially selling, and just hold on to it and put it in that facility potentially? I think this is going to be above what they're trying to get to at 5.5 exahash. So that's just the kind of question that I have on that one. Other than that, this is actually really good growth for them. Let's take a look at the numbers that we do have here for them. Iris Energy is right here. So they are currently at 1.7 exahash right now. They are going to be going to 5.5. I updated this spreadsheet here, which is going to be a good growth for them. They did lose a lot when they returned the miners with their special purpose vehicles, loans that they had on those. Those were returned. So that was 3x something exahash. And with them getting back up to 5.5, this is really good. They were planning on getting up a lot higher. I think it was closer to like 14, 17 exahash by the time they were set to be done with everything. But with everything that happened with the bear market in Bitcoin last year, having to return miners, it's still nice to see that they are growing to be about 5.5 exahash, which is really good. Okay, so we'll see how that's going to affect them going forward. So I still have about 28,000 miners to get them to the 2.8, along with, let me see, which ones do we have here installed? It's pretty much all of these over here. I cleaned it up a little bit to get rid of some of the ones that aren't no longer mining. So that way it kind of cleans it up a little bit more for us, and it's a little bit easier to read. But that's kind of what we have here right now. Okay. So still really good growth. They're only about 30% operational right now. They have about 224% growth left in them. And hopefully they can get those miners plugged in relatively quickly here and hashing away. Okay. So we'll see how the first quarter comes in for them. We are already in February, almost halfway through it. So we'll see if anything gets plugged in February, potentially maybe in March. That would be a good little jump there for them. Okay, so that's it for right now for Iris. Nice to see them growing the way that they are. And let's take a look at our next story here, which is going to be on Hut 8. So let's get into Hut 8. So Hut 8 mining production and operation update for January 23. They did mine a little bit more Bitcoins this time around, but they were also operational for a longer period of time, which helped with that, but they didn't install any new hash rate or anything like that. So production highlights for January 2023, 180 Bitcoins were generated, resulting in an average production rate of approximately 6.1 Bitcoin per day. Total Bitcoin balance held in reserve as of January 31st was 9,274. And further to our announcement on February 7th, we expect to sell our January Bitcoin production to fund operating costs. They're expecting to sell it. They haven't sold it yet. Based on the numbers that we do have for them, it looks like they didn't sell anything in January. They may sell it here in February now, or maybe in March. We'll see. But that would be 188 Bitcoin. I think maybe they're waiting for the price to go back up a little bit. I think they might be waiting a little while for that to happen. Installed ASIC hash rate capacity at our Alberta facility was still 2.5 exahash at the end of the month, so no growth there. And they produced 75.2 Bitcoins per exahash in January as far as their efficiency, so it's kind of low for them. Well, let's see here. They talk about the merger. We already covered that in our previous video. And they also are talking about the Validus power that they took them to court for that. And on February 9th, 2023, Hut received a notice of termination from Validus of the company's lease at the Northern Bay facility. The notice of termination is without merit, and Hut 8 reserves all rights in respect thereof, which it expects to address as part of the proceedings before the court. I'm a little surprised by this. Maybe you guys can help me out with this. So they're saying notice of termination from Validus of the company's lease at the North Bay facility. So are they leasing that facility from Validus? That's kind of like what I'm getting at out of this, is that they're potentially leasing that facility. But I thought it was, well, maybe you guys can help me out. If you guys know for sure if they're leasing that facility out or not, or if I'm just misreading this right now, let me know in the comments down below. I'd love to hear it. Okay. All right, so that's all we got for them. Let's take a look at the numbers that we do have for them, and this is going to be a pretty easy one here. Let's see here, Hut 8. Okay, Hut 8 currently has about 226 million shares outstanding. Stock price is $1.62, market cap 367 million. Shares outstanding is based on the current market cap divided by the stock price. That's how we're getting the shares outstanding. And they are currently at, let's see here, 2.5 exahash is what I have them at. Future hash rate is going to be about 3.2. Now, if the deal with US Bitcoin goes through, they are supposed to get, I think, to like 5.5 something exahash for self-mining. Part of that is going to be also through joint ventures. So that's going to be a little tricky to track, but we'll try our best at it. Now, HODL position is about Like they reported 9,274. That is $211 million worth right now on roughly. Market HODL to market cap is 57.47%. So that's huge there. Each share has 93 cents of HODL position. That's ridiculous. So it seems like they're being valued more on their HODL than they are on their operations right now. They are currently 76% operational. They have about 31% growth left. Now, if they're getting to over 5 later on, that will bump them up a little bit as well. Okay. Now you can see their BTC production has gone down ever since August. September was the last month, partial month, where they were able to mine Ethereum, and they were using that as a Bitcoin equivalent. So that went down to 277, up a little bit here in October to 299, then down into November 238. December was a really bad month for 161, and now they kind of bumped up a little bit here to 188. They are still doing a lot of curtailment with electricity, which I'm surprised. Bitcoin was up pretty high in January, so if they're doing curtailment in January, that means that they are still having pretty high electricity rates, I believe. It's more beneficial for them to curtail than it is to mine. That's at least the way I'm reading it right now. Efficiency-wise, Bitcoins per exahash, you can see here the best month was in August, 125.81. Then it dropped down to 90.2 in September. October was 97.37. October was 97.37. November was 72.72. And December was 64.28. January then was 75.06. So a little bit of an increase there, but not great. Some of the other miners are a little bit more efficient. They're above 100 right now, so they are way below here. Okay, so as far as revenue is concerned, for the month of January, it looks like they made about 3.8 million. Bitcoin price has gone up. Difficulty has also gone up, but Bitcoin price has gone up more than that, so that kind of helped offset that a little bit. And they mined also a little bit more Bitcoin, 188. And you can see here that they haven't sold anything based on my math here, at least in January, with them reporting that they have 9,274 Bitcoins. Now, production-wise, they were only operating for about 22 days based on my math here on the miners that we do have here to get them to the 3.8 million in revenue. Their revenue did increase quite nicely here from December. It's up about 40.2%. So that's at least a good sign there. So that helped them out tremendously. And no miners got installed. We still have some miners that need to get installed here. We got some 93 terahash miners that are still outstanding that need to get installed. Those might be actually the ones that are at that facility that Validus is powering for them. Well, not powering now, so I think that might be part of it because we did have quite a few here in November, and then they got cut. So we still have those that need to get energized, and a couple more here. And we got these 10,000. These won't count because these are the GPU servers. Those are not producing much of anything right now. Okay. Institutions did decrease here from early January to 166 from 175. Shares also decreased to 21.9 million from 23.4 million. Percent owned also went down to 9.97% from 11.09%. So institutions are getting out, it looks like, a little bit here. We still have a strong buy rating on them from an analyst, 1 buy rating, 3 hold ratings. Price target of 450. For the high average is 232 and the low is $1.50 right now. So we will see how things progress for them. They are kind of stuck right now as it is. They are supposedly going to be growing with this U.S. Bitcoin purchase. We'll see just how much they are going to grow with it, though, and if it actually goes through with the shareholders approving it or not. Now, as far as where where my price targets are, I'm looking at them with the current quarter that we're in, about 14.9 million if things stay the same. Looks like if they mine for the full month of February and March, they might be at about 5.6, 5.4 million on those months. We'll see where Bitcoin comes in at also. Difficulty as well. So this is just an estimate on it. And then the last 3 quarter months, we're using also the estimated ending December quarter, and then the actual numbers for Q2 and Q3 numbers. So those are actual. So estimated basically. Combined total is estimated to be about 77 million right now. 50% income, net income from gross revenue, we're looking at with a P of 15, $2.56 to, if we get 75% net income from gross revenue with a P of 15, we're looking at $3.85. We'll see how they get valued after the equal merger, as they call it. Bitcoin starts going back up. They could, get a P of 20, if not higher. So $3.42 to $5.13. That's kind of on the high end here for them right now. But it all depends on where Bitcoin goes, how well the transaction for them goes, and everything else. So that is it. Pretty easy day today. We are still missing a couple miners that have to report. Let's see which ones we're still missing. We're still missing Mawson. Mawson hasn't reported yet, and Sphere. Once they do, then we'll do the monthly comparison for the miners, see which ones did best, which ones did worse for the month, which ones improved the most, which ones didn't improve. So they'll be coming up once I get those two in here. Okay. Other than that, that is going to be it. The only thing I can say for Hut 8 is we've been talking about them having to grow for the last 6 months. I think we've been talking about it, that they really need to start growing. And they are growing, but it just seems like a lot of investors aren't pleased with the way that they're growing. We have a lot of questions with the U.S. Bitcoin Corporation. How are they being valued, and how is it that they're being valued at 400 million or comparable to Hut 8? And how is this going to be an equal merger? So a lot of questions. Hopefully we get some more answers from them going forward. There's also no financials for USBTC that we can take a look at. So that's also concerning there. But that's it. So they got to grow. They're trying to grow. I don't think they're growing the right way. But that's just me. We'll see. I could be wrong on this. All right. So that is it. Spreadsheets, as always, is available to my Patreon members. Thank you to the great community there. And thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Until then, have a great night. Bye.